Clara Hammond had spent her entire life running from Ashford, from the heavy weight of the Hammond name, and from the silence that hung over her family's sprawling old estate. Growing up far away in the city, she had deliberately distanced herself from the whispers and dark stories that clung to Hammond Manor. The mansion was a ghostly myth to most in Ashford, spoken of in hushed tones. A place cursed, haunted by madness, betrayal, and secrets so deep they stained generations. Clara built a life free of all this, carving out a career as a graphic designer and surrounding herself with friends who knew nothing of her lineage. But then the letter arrived. It came on a gray, rain-soaked morning, slipped beneath the door like a breath of history reaching out. The envelope was thick, cream-colored, sealed with crimson wax bearing the family crest, a lion rampant beneath a twisted oak tree. Her fingers shook as she broke the seal, unfolding the letter written in a formal, old-fashioned script. Dear Miss Clara Hammond, it is with great sorrow that I inform you of the passing of your great-uncle Edward Hammond. As the last surviving member of the Hammond bloodline, you have been named the sole heir to Hammond Manor. Your presence is requested to settle his affairs and attend the reading of the will. The words spun in her mind, stirring a knot of fear, confusion, and something darker, a sense of a pull she had long denied. Against her better judgment, Clara booked a train ticket to Ashford, her heart heavy with unease. The town greeted her like a faded postcard, streets lined with ancient oaks whose gnarled branches clawed at the misty sky. The air smelled of wet earth and decaying leaves, a scent both foreign and hauntingly familiar. At the edge of town stood Hammond Manor, towering and somber, wrapped in ivy, its stone walls weathered by centuries. The windows, dark and hollow, seemed to watch her approach, as if the house itself awaited her arrival. The iron gates groaned open, releasing a cold breath that slipped beneath Clara's skin. Inside, the house was a mausoleum of memories. Dust hung thick in the air, catching pale light that filtered through stained glass. Portraits of ancestors stared down from the walls, their eyes sharp and unforgiving. Every floorboard creaked beneath her footsteps, every shadow seemed to pulse with silent stories. She was met by Martin Yates, the family lawyer, a thin, worn man with eyes that flickered like dying embers. His voice was soft but carried weight. The reading of the will be tomorrow. You are welcome to stay and familiarize yourself with the estate. Familiarize, the word twisted in Clara's mind like a bitter joke. That first night, sleep eluded her. The guest room smelled of mothballs and regret. Outside, the wind howled through the cracks of the ancient windows, carrying with it the echoes of the past. As she lay staring into the darkness, a tapping sounded, soft but deliberate. Heart-pounding, Clara pulled aside the heavy curtains. Below, a figure stood in the shadows, a man in a long coat, face hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat. She blinked and he was gone. Morning brought no solace. Clara wandered the manor's labyrinthine halls, feeling eyes tracking her every step. In Edward's study, a room untouched by time, she found a leather-bound journal. The cover was cracked, the gold letters faded, the legacy of the Hammonds. She opened it, and the scrawled handwriting revealed a history steeped in pride and pain, slowly darkening to madness. Edward's words spoke of voices trapped within the walls, shadows moving on their own accord, and a curse entwined with the family's bloodline. The past will not stay buried, one passage read. The sins of my ancestors claw at the present like beasts in the dark. Beneath these stones lies something that must never be unearthed. A sudden creak shattered the silence. Clara spun, only empty hallways stared back. The next day, the will was read in the dim library. Strange relatives gathered, eyes cold, lips tight. Martin's voice broke the stillness. Miss Hammond, as the sole heir, you inherit the manor and its contents. But your great-uncle's last wish was for you to uncover the truth behind the estate's troubled history. Clara's throat tightened. What truth? That, Miss Hammond, Martin said gravely, is for you to discover. Determined, Clara dove into the manor's dusty past. She pored over brittle letters, yellowed newspapers, and grainy photographs, faces frozen in pain, two children's faces violently scratched out in one haunting image. At night, whispers drifted through the corridors, doors creaked open of their own accord, cold spots lingered. Sleep became a distant memory. She felt eyes, unseen, unblinking, following her. In the manor's darkest cellar, Clara discovered a trapdoor concealed beneath rotting floorboards. The stale air that escaped smelled of earth and decay. She forced it open and descended into shadow. The beam of her flashlight sliced through blackness, revealing rusted tools, cobwebbed crates. At the far end stood an iron gate, her breath caught. A cold breath brushed the back of her neck. She whirled, empty darkness. A whisper hissed in her ear, "You shouldn't be here." Terrified, Clara fled. On the grand staircase, she bumped into Martin, whose face was drawn. "You don't understand," he said. "This house holds grief, madness, curses older than you can imagine." "I need to know," Clara insisted. "Why did my family suffer? What happened here?" Martin looked away, haunted. Edward believed the manor was built on a wound, a betrayal so deep it poisoned every generation. Clara refused to leave. Nights blurred into days as she pieced together a tale of forbidden love, bitter betrayal, a missing child, and a family slowly unraveling. The house resisted. Shadows flickered at the edges of her vision, doors slammed with no wind, cold whispers called her name. One storm-torn night, lightning splintered the sky and Clara returned to the cellar. The gate stood open. A small velvet-wrapped box rested on the floor. Inside, faded letters from a woman named Amelia, a secret love, and a silver locket containing a photo of a child with piercing green eyes, her own. Tears blurred Clara's vision. Amelia was her great-aunt, a woman whose love and sacrifice had been buried in silence. The child was the missing heir, the true victim of a family's broken past. As Clara touched the locket, a coldness filled the chamber. A whisper, "Set us free." Shadows coalesced into a ghostly woman in flowing dress, eyes filled with longing and sorrow. Clara's heart shattered. "I will tell your story," she vowed. "I will bring you peace." In the weeks that followed, Clara reached out to Ashford's historians and townsfolk, uncovering truths long hidden. The mansion, once a tomb of sorrow, began to breathe again, light spilling through windows, vines retreating. She stayed, not as a distant heiress but as a keeper of truth, confronting shadows and unearthing the love, betrayal, and hope buried beneath the stones. The past no longer whispered from darkness. It spoke through her, promising some secrets, once revealed, could heal even the deepest wounds. Subscribe, like, and comment for more videos like this. Subscribe to this channel because it's full of everyday stories.